myth that says indoda ayifi, indoda iyabulawa. Things are evolving as we go. That changes into it's not the issue that much these days. But the way you are treated, it's like you are being cursed. That is an oppression right there. Because when it comes to men, the practice is totally different. Whereas in the olden days, when a woman lost her husband due to death, older women would stay with you for some period of time in making sure that you are given counseling in an African way. Even the bed that you're using with your husband would be burned. This is symbolizing the transition and the new journey a widow is about to take. This form of support, we saw it in the book of John 11, when Mary and Martha were mourning the death of their brother Lazarus. There were people with them when Jesus arrived. But unfortunately, Bazalani, these days, there is no such support from the in-laws, even from the community. Mourning attire in Zilo. It is not our culture. It is not even biblical as well. Most people are confusing it with what is written in the 2 Samuel chapter 12. Apho khona kuthiwa uDavide wore the ragged clothes, impahla ezikhwexayo. Even there, it was not a woman, kodwa wayeyindoda. Even when Mordecai was sitting by the gate, enxibe impahla ezikhwexayo, it was a man. When did it change? We don't know. It is something, Fundisi, of Inzilo, something that we inherited from the missionaries in an Asian era, when most of our grandfathers would go to a battle and some will not come back because they were killed. Missionaries took it upon themselves to try and take care of the widows by giving them food parcels, as it is written in the book of Deuteronomy 24. Itiona, I quote, when you harvest in the field, leave some for the fatherless and the widows. Yes, I know it talks about strangers as well, but I chose the fatherless and the widows because today we are talking about widows. But that became that practice, that good gesture that was made by missionaries became a challenge, because when the truck arrives to give food parcels to the widows, all women of the village will come and claim that they also have lost their husbands. That is when the missionaries decided to come up with a strategy. They came up with the attire that will separate widows from all of the other women. They came up with the black attire simply because even their culture, the white culture, when a man died, the woman wear a black veil during the funeral. I quote, only during the funeral. For white culture, this is done as a protection against unwanted social interaction during a period of grief. But when it comes to us, it is prolonged. That is the disadvantages of us as Black people inheriting the white influences and teaching. I want to talk about the positives of the practice in Zilo. The intention was to make sure that in older days, men would send in a village their sons to go and assist the widow in the field. We find this when you read in 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 3 to 16, where Paul writes to Timothy about taking care of widows. You know, to think of it, I'm sure Paul saw how widows were treated and decided to write and dedicate the whole 5th chapter to how widows should be treated. But these days, things have changed a lot. Hayi ngoku kuzabona ngobuqu amadoda, otata, bontate, personally with malicious intentions. Not all of them sound. The negatives of this practice in Zilo. It has an element of abuse and oppression towards women. Simply because she will be told the period of wearing this attire. This is determined by the in-laws. If they say 6 months, you'll go 6 months. If they say 12 months, you go 12 months. Whereas emadodeni, it is not like that. You will be told, time to come back home. And how you speak. She must kneel down when she speaks to someone on the street, of which you don't see men doing that. It has lost its true meaning. Ngoba abanye abantu bagila imikhuba while wearing the attire. They misbehave. Therefore, it doesn't mean wearing inzilo ikwenza ubonakale that you have respected the culture, but your action may mean something different. It devalues a woman's dignity. Why am I saying it devalues a woman's dignity? Just because the in-laws have paid ilobola for a woman is seen as an object that deserves to be told what to do and when to do it by the in-laws. Remember, I'm saying the in-laws. I'm stressing that it's the in-laws because in Zilo, they cannot come and say, we want her to be addressed in this manner. The in-laws have the right to say, and they have the right to practice their culture on you. Whilst men are being given freedom and rights to live their lives in its fullness, it would be said to them that after the Nzilo period, they must start looking for a woman to raise abantwana. Kodwa to a woman is seen as a taboo if she gets married immediately after cleansing ceremony. I can assure you, Mfundisi, if it was me who has gone to heaven, my husband would have been told by men, by congregants, women around to say, Mfundisi, you must find a woman that will assist you in raising kids. But now should I decide to move on, it's after 4 years. They would say, yo, she was ready. It will be a talk of a town. Inzilo limits women to raise their concerns, to raise their views, because you are regarded as disrespectful towards your in-laws. Inzilo should be, according to me, Mfundisi wami, nabanye abefundisi and everyone that is in this platform, it should be a process that allows a woman to find themselves and rediscover their new journey. Because this is not an easy journey, and not at it's a painful journey and find yourself having to raise the kids by yourself. Instead, that doesn't happen because there are lots of disturbances and distractions caused by the in-laws. Sometimes even the people that are around you. Not all the in-laws are the same, but in majority, if you can ask and interview each and every widow, she's got her fair share of story to tell about that grieving period, that funeral week, because it is seen. I don't know, it's like indoda is not supposed to die at all. In most cases, not all, the time they won't afford her, they will not afford you the time as a widow to mourn and give the respect this period deserves of ukunxiba inzilo. Some would decide on your behalf while wearing lenzilo without consultation with you that your late husband's brother or someone in the family to continue where the late husband has left. It is done in the name of culture. This is so patriarchal. The reason for doing this is to make sure that the inheritance the widow is going to receive remains within the family. It is oppression, abuse of power, and degrading of women. In conclusion, Mfundisi wami, as I'm about to prepare for myself for questions if there are any, inzilo should be an individual's choice. I believe so. And it must be communicated between a husband and a wife. After that discussion, in order for ukuthi umntana abantu angashiyeki esezintweni kuthiwa akananhlonipho udelela the in-laws, the husband must inform the family of their decision or be written in a will so that it covers umntana. Because mfundisi, when you are mourning, uhleli phaya uzilile usacinga ukuthi wethu, it's like ilanga litshone emini, you don't know what to think, uzawuqala ngaphi. And there are people that are coming with lots of ideas phezu kwakho. And when you say this is not the agreement between me and my husband, you are seen as this disrespectful. It shouldn't be used to stigmatize women. Amadoda otata abancitshiswa ezimpahla ezimnyama. Utata, it's either uzabebekwe ispelid nelapho elimnyama ephisa nelapho, akazonikezwa le mithetho ezawubekwa phezu komuntu ongumama. Finally, ukuzila takes time. Ayifani nenzilo. There's a huge difference between inzilo nokuzila. Ukuzila takes time. For instance, you'll find in most cases, Mfundisi and other ministers, this research, I can assure you, if it can be conducted, you'll come with positive results of what I'm saying. For instance, a woman starts ukuzila after 2 to 3 years, when all fighting and settling has passed. Aqalise now to the reality to hit, to say andina myeni. During the first year, in fact, from the day the husband passed on, ulwisana ne emotions ngapha ngabantu that are needing things from her. Ulwa amadabi ngapha ngabantwana fanele abakhulisile athi make sure bayakhula. Uyabastabilizer. So even after this storm, there is still a tunnel. You're trying to do all those things. Sometimes so cleanse or not cleanse or walibala. Then after 2 to 3 years, when everything has settled down, the dust has gone down, the reality strikes to say, Kanene, I don't have a husband. That is when you see a widow starting to break down. When you talk about the passing of the husband and other people that hasn't gone the route, that hasn't been in that process, they don't understand. They see you as umuntu ongena kholo, but I can assure you, Mfundisi, inzilo takes about 6 months to 12 months, but ukuzila for years and to heal. I thank you so much. Thank you, Mfundisi, over to you.
Wow. Hey. Thank you, Me Obose. Thank you so much. You have touched on so many things in your presentation. Thank you so much for a well-prepared presentation. I think we will afford people time to ask questions and make comments. But I just want to say, you have spoken about the issue of not being sensitive to a person who has lost her loved one. And the church has contributed in this, as growing up, even now. I've seen people who are wearing inzelo sitting at the back of the church, and once they have to leave earlier before the church is hello.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh yes, I was saying I'm ashamed to say that the church has contributed to the pain that the community has instilled on people who are grieving. Even in church, growing up, even now, that when you have people who are wearing inzelo in church, they must come later and leave early because they are not supposed to interact with people. In my church, women who have lost their loved one, they are not allowed even to address other people, but it's part of it. But my point is that maybe the church has contributed in making this pain ibheke phambili. Friends, you have heard for yourself. I'm happy that we have more Masuku here. Kune background. What is going on? Kune background noise here. I don't know what is causing it. But I was saying, I'm happy that Mama Apa or Mama Masuku, who are also widows. I've seen Umamu Vatela, I've seen others who are here. Maybe they can also, before we go for questions, if they have something to contribute, we can allow that. If not, then we can give it to people to share their, to ask questions of clarity or make comments. Friends, you can raise your hands if you want to make a contribution.
Before that, Mfundisi, as you say, the church has played a role. Has played a role. Remember, the people that come to church, they come from communities.
Yes.
They come from their own cultures. The only thing that cannot be differentiated in our churches is for people to only apply a culture yakulo. But one thing that our Black church, I'll say so because I'm Black where I am. Abantu bavumelekile to come with culture zabo and traditions zabo. When yes, we Black Christians cannot run away from that, but it has a negative impact to that. For instance, you'll see a widow, they will tell her, more especially in Johannesburg, as you were saying in your church, they would say, sit there at the back. She would arrive early at the bank, but the people that are supposed to queue behind her, they will say, no, Pumelainin, stand aside. Ingati, there is this bad luck, there is this nyama that you are carrying with you. Even in a taxi, they will tell you to go right at the back. And the oppression that comes with this is that each and every evening, when you must wash the very same clothes that you're going to wear for a year, or that you're going to wear for 6 months. And at the very same time, you are expected, that is torturing to go into a corner where they have your husband's clothes. I was fortunate, I would say, because I think that would torment me a lot. To see impatla zomyenam inside a sheet in a corner, I must lit a candle each and every evening for those clothes. It's tormenting.
Yeah.
Over to you, Mfundisi.
Yes, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. Friends, if you want to make a contribution, you can raise your hand, then we will afford you time to speak. You can ask questions or any comment. You can make any comment. Yes, Mkoni. Oh, image umama suku lo Agnes and it.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, Magaskale Sinega umama suku Mkoni. I've recognized your hand.
Oh, ngiyabonga baba ukuba nami ngikwazi ukungena kule nkulumo ekhona phakathi kwethu. Ukuba usuvezile ukuba ngikhona nami njengalo mntwana okhulumayo odlule esimene esibuhlungu. Khona into ayithethile ethi ukuba obaba sometimes ibona bafanele basikhulule ukuze singasali sesiyisubject yabantu akade siphila nawo njengezihlobo. Mina ke ekuhambeni kwababa masuku before ahambe nje engakaguli ungakaze kube yimanje wahlala ekhuluma ngakho athi nxa sengidlule mina I don't want my wife to put a black dress. Uzohlala nje njengoba kade sihleli. So la nxa abafowabo nodadewabo befika bephethe izindwangu zokuthi bafuna ukungisikela ingubo ezimnyama, kwacaca ukuthi lento ayikhulumile kwasekuqaleni uyibhale phansi kuba angizi ukunxiba ingubo emnyama ngoba phela kuthi abafileyo bayazi ukuthi abaphilayo bayazi ukuthi bazokufa. So njengoba mina ngisazi ukuthi ngelinye ilanga kuzokwenzeka ukuthi ishone, why ngifuna unkosikazi wami asale egqoka ingubo emnyama besihleli kahle ekungananto embi. Umuntu ozilayo ngomuntu obekade engahleli kahle ngokwesiko labantu, kodwa futhi ayilona siko leli esingathi thina kwakuvele kukhona. Asibukeni uJobe ngesikhathi ezilele, uDavid ngesikhathi ezilele umntana wakhe, simbona ezila ngendlela ezihlukene. Uqeda lapho uyaphuca ikhanda lakhe ngoba efuna ukukhombisa ukuthi uphethwe inhlungu emvelele. Ngalokho ke abantu abanengi kuleyo nzilo bafumanisa ubuhlungu obudlula lobo obuhlungu obuyehlele kubo, ngoba bathola amagama amaningi angafanelanga ukuba ngabe bayawathola. So ngalokho ngingathi ukuthi angazi ke baba nomntwana okade si-addressa ukuthi kungenziwa ndlela bani, ngoba phela yonke into esiyenzayo sithole eBhayibhelini. Asikuboni ukuthi eBhayibhelini kuya contribute yini ukuthi kufanele sibe ngabantu abaphathwa ngalolo hlobo. Point yalikhulumile lokuthi into yafika ngabantu ama-missionary nabantu ababefuna lezo zipho ama-food parcels ayesiza kulaba abantu abalahlekelwe ngabozakwabo. So wonke umuntu ngoba ekufuna lokho kwasokubonakala ukuthi kungcono vele baphiwe ingubo ezizokhombisa ukuthi ngabafelokazi. Ngalokho siyabona ukuthi kusakude ukuthi abantu siku-understande. Nalokho ukuthi ungazili futhi akhona amagama ozowathola, akhona amagama ozowafumanisa. Ungeke utsho ukuthi njengoba umyeni wakho ukuvumela ukuthi ungazili, bazokhuluma lokho abafuna ukukukhuluma. Athi awevele ngamthandi, bengahlala engamzileli kanjani uyise wabantwana bakhe. So yonke lento isebutheni nje abantu sicabanga kanjani. So ngalokho ke ibandla lona likubukela phansi nxa ungazange uyenze lokho ukufanele ukuthi kuyenziwe. Kuthiwa kusesintwini, kodwa angiboni ukuthi kusesintwini. Okunye okwenza ukuthi obaba njengomyeni wami athi ngingazili, uthi wabuka ugogo wakhe wazila for 5 years. Ngoba phela nxa uzilile awuzikhumuli lezo ngubo wena ngokwakho. Kufanele babuye futhi bona laba bakugqokisile bakukhiphe ngesiko labo nangendlela yabo. Ngeke uthi wena ngoba usuhlale 6 months, ngoba usuhlale unyaka, so kufanele ukhuphe ingubo zenzilo. Kufanele babuye bona bazokukhupha, bayenze ngendlela abayenza ngayo. So nxa bengathandi ukukhupha kutsho ukuthi izodabuka ingubo uphinde uthenge enye. So wathi yena ngeke akwazi ukuthi unkosikazi wami angaba kuleso simo. Nxa kuyikuthi abasathanda ukumkhipha uzokwenza njani? Ngale ndlela i-contribution engayisho nje ukuthi obaba kuphela yibona abangasenza singatholi le trauma etholwa ngabanye abantu abaningi, ikakhulu abendlini yokukholwa. Ngathi uNkulunkulu angasibusisa sibe nolwazi, sibe nokuqonda. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga kakhulu ma. Siyabonga. Umfundisi uBhuqa uke waveza ifoto apha. Nguye umama Masuku lo uhleli phambili, uhleli nomama uMabaso. The wife to umfundisi uVusi Mabaso ebese Durban congregation. Ndiyathemba niyababona apho. Ngabo bobabini apho umama Masuku nomama Mabaso. Ndiyabulela kakhulu Dlamini. Thank you so much. Mkoni ndibone nesandla sika mama uPona. I'm sure she is still coming.
Fakundicela ukuqala umama uPona ndizawulandela.
Oh, okay. Yes, mama uPona. Umama uPona usekhona kodwa? Andazi noba usekhona kodwa besike saphakama isandla sakhe. Usekhona umama uPona? Okay, mhlawumbe uzawubuya. Make sibe sinika wena ke Mkoni.
Akusenani ke mkhuluwa. Let me also greet you all in the name of Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. Ngiyacinga nje kusekuhleni mandiqala ngobreka ukuthi esisikhuluma esiqavile is my congregant.
Yes, so, yes. And siyeza apho Mkoni. Sifuna ukugena.
Nifuna ukugena. Look, Faku, I think I need, firstly, let me acknowledge the help that I got from Umama Obose on the background information, the ukuba ivela pilento yokuzila and a contribution of the church being done. This is the first time I hear it, and I felt it like a revelation, because I have a sense that izinto umasinga, when we don't know them, we tend to abuse them, and in the end, whether it was for a good purpose, it ends up losing meaning. I do not understand why would this practice be located only within women. Why is it that it is expected of women to have a special attire that says ngifelwe, as if amadoda bona abafelwa if their wives leave earlier? I also do not understand why. This is where I want to get clarity. Kumam Obos. Ute ukuze bakhululeke, ukuze bangahlupheki, say, if I having to deal with my passing on, and then here are the brothers tossing her left, right, and center. And she was suggesting that maybe I should write that in a will. Now I have a different perspective, because unkosikazi wami is not my property, it's my wife. And this ukumaba njengokuba ngaba ilifa. What I think must happen is that siphila, we should demonstrate izinto ezithi even go my siblings and other family members, that this is my wife and this is my partner. If I am not there, it is her weight that goes. So if she decides that ndingcwatywa ngoLwesihlanu akuxhelwa, that is what must happen, and it starts there. But let me also talk about culprits. Zale misebenzi engicabanga ukuthi yimikhuba rather than amasiko. Ngomama, you would find that women who still have their husbands around are not very vocal when those kind of things, but other women who also know the pain of having lost a husband and having to go through this painful, it looks like from a point of vengeance, of vindictiveness, that they do this. I share it because when my father died, I was there with my mom, and I asked her, what is your feeling around into Yokuzila? And she said to me, honestly, I looked at your dad dying for the past 6 years. Ngazila through all over that time. And I knew that when they come, members of my family, they are not going to be having the same kind of sympathetic ear on her as I did. And I said to her, I will stand in that meeting for you, so that your views can be heard. But not all widows would have abantwana sebekhulile ngangami abase mhlambe also with an added bonus yokubonga umfundisi ikhaya livele likuhlonini. But what I saw was that meeting was between Bagamaragane le Bagamukhawa. So Bagamaragane were saying to Bagamukhawa, nenza njani ngolwenu isiko uma ngabe umntana wenu eswelekelwe ngumyeni. And kabeza uthi uma kubuzwe kuye, I was there to answer and get well. Okokuqala umama usebenza esibhedlela, you can't expect her to go into the hospital ngezinto ezimnyama. But if you are saying makanxibe izinto ezimnyama for the whole year, nithi maslambe, because then akasekho omnye who would be bringing in income. I think it worked for that time. So I think we need to be able to help with what is it that is culture, what is it that is tradition, what is it that is ithethe or imikhuba. Now, let me close with the church. Louis Kreshmer says the church is evil because we are in it. Umama Obose articulated it well. Kuza ecaweni, people from the same communities, from the same cultures, from the same traditions, from the same imikhuba. And until such time that they have been brought in tune with what brings them to church, they would use this church to practice Leo Miku. I think that is my contribution for now.
Yes. Thank you so much, Umkon. Thank you. You have said a mouthful. Mfundisi Umvene. Umfundisi Umvene usekhona?
It won't be heard.
Yes.
Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you, Nqonde.
Okay. I think for me, I've heard people preaching for, I've also done that. When we preach chapter 1, Nahum, no Boaz, no Oprah. And I've never had any preacher that tries to acknowledge the role Oprah play in displaying the culture of the Jews, which I think it was the right thing to do. Because I think iqala apho londo. Yes, it was right uba ahlale uRuthe emzini xa ebhujelwe indoda. At the same time, no Oprah into owayenzayo was the right thing xa ebhujelwe indoda. And I think if sinoyiqala from that to say both women needs to be acknowledged, because I think they created a theology for us that I think we need to use. It's good for this one to stay, but it's good for also for Oprah to live. And we should not judge Oprah, because I think most of us will preach that text. Hey, we are so judgmentally Oprah.
Nqonde usemakhaya bendibuse Kapa nje uphi kutheni inantsika nje lento yakho iyaqhawuka.
Uyandiva kakuhle ke ngoku?
Iyakuva useKapa?
Ngisekapa mfana.
Hey, ingathi usemakhaya. Okay. Ndiyakuva ngoku.
I think for me it starts mna iqala nje kwindlela how we narrate the Oprah and Ruth story.
Uhambile ke ngoNqondo. Usukile kulanda ubukuyi. Nqonde. Yo.
Ndikona kayinakapha xa ibed. But mna I just wanted to reflect on
Okay.
Benifuna nje ureflecta ku-route opera and
Yeah.
how the church has failed ukuthatha opera to educate our families.
Yeah.
Ukuthi what opera did was the right thing. And umama uBoaz inhle into ayenzileyo ngokumkhulula uOprah ngoba wamanga wamkhulula. Inhle neyenziwa nguRute yokubahlale ecaleni komamazala wakhe. So it starts from there. So if ndiyasweleka ifamily yam mandibhale phansi mande unkosikazi mayimkhulule aphindele kowabo because ubomi kumele kuqhubekeke ndakubhubha anganxityiswa impahla emnyama because what is mourning? Mourning is when you take the grief you have on the inside and express it outside yourself. Whether nganxiba impahla emnyama unkosikazi wami, if he does not have that inside grief, it means nothing. I think we need to educate our families ngokuthatha le biblical text ukuthi zangazile uOprah wabo waba nobomi avuba ebhutshelwe indoda. So amakhosikazi ethu masiwafundise ukuthi xa sibhubhile azaba nobomi. Enkosi fako.
Enkosi Ngcono. Siyabulela kakhulu Mkwayi. Andazi umama ubona nobe bephinde wabuyana kodwa xa ekhona uyawu-indicator. Andibona isandla ke sikhoyo ngoku. Oh yes, Kebase. Yebo Kebase. Mdalo Unhlabathi. Mdalo Unhlabathi ngazimute. Amnute Mdalo Unhlabathi. Awuvulekanga inatsiki mic yakho. Okay, mhlambe singeva omnye okhona umdala Unhlabathi uphakamisile kodwa ndibona ngathi athethe. Ngaba sikhona esinye isandla? I'm not sure noba ndive kakuhle na isingathi abantu they are making contributions rather than questions. Ingathi umfundisi uMahahane had a question. Mhlambe ke singabe sinika umama Obose just to answer that question. Ngoba ulento umdala uNhlabathi akathethi. Mama Obose khona umbuzo obubuzwe ngumfundisi uMahahane. Are you ready to answer that question?
Mfundisi, can I recap? Can you please help me to recap what was the question? Because he said a lot of things. The only thing that I picked up that was said by Mfundisi Mahahane, it was when he was saying he is not gonna put it in a will because akazoba umfazi wakhe as property.
Yeah.
But I want to stand by my statement, Mfundisi. If there is nothing written down, even those that know, Uguchi, your husband has said, akafuni uncijiswe. Who muted? The host muted me.
Sorry. I made a mistake,
Yes.
ma. Yes.
Okay. Bayakujikela Mfundisi ibengathi into yakho wedwa. I don't know where it can be written. I know this one is not related to this, but I remember when my mother passed on, she told all the family, all her sisters, that when I pass on, andifuni ukuhlala itrasi phansi because I don't know the significance of ukuhlaliswa kwetrasi phansi. Therefore, when I passed on, I don't want anyone bothering my kids netrasi elizawuhlala phansi. Luckily, we were old enough to say umama uthe, like umfundisi uMagagane. But umfundisi, even those that were told, bajika, they didn't, it was like sizanento ezange yathethwa by umama wethu. So iwesi ke ngoku, you know, umfazi unkosikazi uba a victim. You know, you can protect me, mfundisi, while you're still alive, and the people will know that we cannot touch umama unonyamezela Tati, because umfundisi Tati will kill ngaye. But as soon as you move, she becomes a victim because she is in her vulnerable state. Mfundisi, when you are there, kuba nzima, kuba mnyama, uba ne mixed emotions, and sometimes you just give in and say if that is the case. I don't know where it can be written, but I would, because izamnceda mfundisi to take out something, whether it's a will, it is not a will or something, to say this is what my husband said. Bayibona nokuthi it is your handwriting, even if it's a letter that you're going to keep somewhere in your documents, so that it protects your wife. And I like what umfundisi Mfene made about Oprah and Ruth. Oprah left to go back because of her age. Ukhululwe. You see, I'm not a theologian, but if I read kakuhle Bible, it says wakhululwa kumazala. Now it becomes a challenge when ungakhululwanga. It becomes a challenge when the relations zimoshakele ngela xesha. It is even becoming more difficult to stay within the family as Ruth. You know, I don't know, Mfundisi, if you, I remember you were there when we had a widows retreat. And when Umama Kwengwa, the guest speaker, said we must make relations with our in-laws. If you would notice, most of the women broke down because it starts phaya kwinzilo. It starts, izinto ziqala phaya kula veki. Kumoshakale. Yes, I don't dispute the fact that there are families that love their daughters-in-law. But mfundisi, we cannot generalize. Zikhona families that adores amakhosikazi wonyana babo. You know, but the issue today is about the oppression part of in the name of culture. I missed the question, Mfundisi Magagane. I would like to the question to be repeated, Mfundisi.
Okay. Mkone, ngabe uphendulekile or mhlambe khona kukhona into?
I think ngiphendulekile Faku. What
okay.
I think I need the church to help us do. Njengabafundisi who care for these families as such situations. See that we should be able to clarify what is culture, because culture is not static. Culture changes. The language, yes, cause it's not the same language 25 years ago. It's because the culture has changed. What they are growing with today is creating a culture of today. So that the church should be able to help us distinguish between culture, traditions, and imikuba. I don't know what imikuba would be in English. Yes, I think Otherwise, ngiphendulekile.
Yes. Thank you so much, Umkon. Is there anyone to make a contribution? Okay. Yes, Chabalal.
Molweni tata.
Again, Molweni Chabalal.
Hey, ndizihlalela apha ndimamele abantu abadala. Abantwana abathanda indaba. So, ekuseni ndiphangela namhlanje. Etawuni phakathi naphakathi sibona ndihleli ngaphambili nomnye umama osanda kuswelekelwa yindoda, I think 3 or 4 months ago. No drive. Bese kudlule umuntu ozilile onxibe kodwa impahla ezibunevi kodwa lo mbala lo wamaJeremane. Then the one sitting next to me athi, mna ndibaxelele emzini aba andizuyinxiba laa nto. Kwasemveni koba kuthiwe kubhubha umyeni wam kuthiwe mandihlale phaa phantsi, ndabaxelela uba mna andizuhlala phantsi. Zonke into zokleyima kwakuxa kuthiwa mandikhatshwe ndithi andizukhatshwa, ndizawuzihambela. Uyathetha ke umem, like ngabantu abazezi characters ubona uba uba uqinanga apha angakususa nakuli right akulahle kwenye, because she's very vocal. And yeah, ngumuntu ekudala ke sincokola, I can tell that she is not a born again Christian. She's of cultures and everything. But kuyo yonke lento ayithethileyo ke, because waya wayicacisa noba yena wabaxelela uba instead of wearing leza zinto uzawugaxa iqhiya, uyatsho ukuba, and ke ndake ndambona ke for intsukwana wayihlale neqhiya igaxileyo ayifakile apha kuye emzimbeni. So wayise yahamba i-conversation yade yaphela, kodwa into endashiyeka ndinayo ndathi hey, ithini le nto? If kuza kwenziwa le into kuthiwe lisiko, ihambi iphele phi if there is just one person who can defy yonke le nto and ingenzeki nyhani kuyo? That's one. And second, when umfundisi mentioned even nasenkonzweni about how abantu abazilileyo would sit at the back, I wrote phaya ku-comment box uba apha ngasekhaya, and I can tell you up to today, oko ndakhula, I've never seen umuntu onxibe izile siya enkonzweni. They don't go to church. And ndangena ebandleni sinabo abantu beswelekelwa bazile. I can't even tell you even get visits from abantu bebandla. You'd find that usibabalwe will go there yedwa ngelo xesha xa ifumana ichance, kodwa sentsho la support yothi ibandla, I haven't seen it. So ibuye ke kwipoint yokugqibela ebendifuna uya kuyo, of which umfundisi uMarharhane uye wayinyathela kancinci. Ukuba silibandla besiqinisekile ngoba singobani, because unfortunately we are Christians who also pride ourselves for things that are fallen, because culture is fallen. Anything that is done kuthiwe yi-culture yethu le, you would see that it has a very bad and a good side. So instead of saying, okay, let's leave this one, as much as also Christianity is like that, but instead of saying, let's take this one, sisebenzise yona, sithatha yonke lento, sifake ngaphakathi enkonzweni, we end up dismantling everything that is good ngebandla. So if only there was a way that as Christians, this is what we do. But unfortunately, sinabefundisi abayi-20, for example, a Presbyterian, but 5 of them are teaching Christianity according to the Bible. Then 15 of them are teaching Christianity according to what is done and a bit of the Bible. So we get the problem there. I'm just putting in my contributions, but there's a lot that I can say. So yeah, but this is a concern and a very big one. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Chabalala. Thank you so much, Siyabonga. Dr. Mpofu.
Yebo mfundisi mangibonge.
Yes.
Without creating confusion, kukhona into ezivelayo eziyimbuzo ethinta things that are academic and theological in nature. Zimbili engifuna ukuziclarifya. Eyokuqala kukhona umbuzo othi amanye amagama asinawo, amagama afana nokuthi imikhuba silwa nawo masizama ukuthi senze research, but we use words such as norms and behavior patterns. Sizama ukwehlukanisa lezo zinto from amasiko ne-culture okuyindlela abantu abaphila ngayo, mhlawumbe nezinto abazamukele kubo khokho lemuva esilokhu sizibambile. Engifuna ukukugcizelela kakhulu uma ngikhuluma in terms of research and practical theology ngalezi zinto, siyasikhuthaze a framework esiyibiza ngokuthi post-foundational theological framework. I'm sure noma lingafundi i-theology, uma libuka omabona ku-TV liyalizwe ngama-religious fundamentalists. Abantu ke abangama-fundamentalist bathathela kulokho esikubiza ngokuthi i-foundationalism, okuyi-epistemology or indlela yolwazi ethathela kakhulu kumasiko, yenze amasiko abe yisisekelo, umuntu angafuni ukuguquka kulezo zinto ezasenziwa kudala, kodwa abesefuna ukuthi aphoqele wonke umuntu ukuthi everybody must do this because ukholela ukuthi yiyo into eyayisenziwa ngabokhokho kufanele siyenze. So ama-fundamentalist ke baba strong ukufosteni ukuthi izinto kazenziwe ngendlela endala. Kodwa ke i-non-fundamentalist approach iya-rejecta this traditional rationalist definition of truth, ukuthi iqiniso akusilo qiniso ngoba yinto evela kubokhokho, kodwa si-emphasize lokho esikubiza ngokuthi yi-post-foundationalism rationality, okuyikuthi noma ngabe okhokho bakufundisa usabamba izinto obuzitshelwa kugogo, kodwa urational, uyacabanga. Sikholelwa ukuthi uyabona ukuthi yiziphi izinto lapho hleli khona ezisase-relevant, yiziphi izinto lapho hleli khona mhlawumbe ezingasasebenzi esikhathini esiphila kuso, okwenza ukuthi ukhona ukuthi-ke uthi apply in your life lokho okungakusebenzela esikhathini samanje, hhayi ukuthi usulokhu ubamba into endala ngoba yayisebenza ngaleso sikhathi ulokhu uphoqela nabantwana bakho ukuthi benze into ezazisuke ngoba impilo yaleso sikhathi yayidinga ukuthi kube ne-approach enjalo. So I thought it's important to explain that we emphasize what we call a post-foundational rationality approach. Ukuthi yebo bheke emuva, kodwa akucabange umodify. That is why we talk of deconstructing, debunking some of these concepts, nama-practices, nama-culture, ukwenzela ukuthi singazithathi sisebenzise ngale ndlela ezasenziwa ngakhona, kodwa sithathe lokho oku-positive okungasisa phambili sishiye lokhu okusibuyisela emuva. I thought I should clarify that. Thank you so much, Mongameli.
Hey, siyabonga Doc. Yebazalwane niyaqaphela kodwa uba apha kumama obose nako Doc aba sifumana i-free lessons. Ndizonika i-account. Ndizanika i-account yoba nifake akho nto kuthiwa i-free app. Nifake for ama lessons la esiwafumanayo. Siyabulela kakhulu bazalwane. Thank you so much Dr. Mpofu. Saying that we don't have any other hands, maybe we can now give Umam Obose to give a wrapping statement on the subject. Ndibona kungekho zandla. Mam Obose kukhona into obuthanda ukuvala ngayo.
Mfundisi, you know, ndihlelwa into ndifikelwa into that comes engqondweni yami to say it's even worse when you are a minister's wife. There are lots of challenges udibana nazo and that you were not prepared for. How I wish our church can be pastoral even after the passing of Umyeni. When I say the church is because our husbands are property, yecawa. But nasemabandleni, you know, I read a comment and Pazamisa to say kukhona ibandla apho bangayiyo nokuya omama. I think the gospel efanele ipreachwe mfundisi ndiyacinga. I'm not giving orders, but engabawela ukuthi ipreachwe na before siba ngabahlolokazi. I-gospel that liberates. You know, other churches, like charismatic churches, I'm not going to mention Magama Weikawa, but I know Gukoni Kawa that is a firm to say in this church, Samamkelu Yesu. Therefore, we cannot be seen senza izinto zamasiko nezithethe. Not that amasiko wetu we should leave them. Not that we should abandon amasiko wetu, but there are things that needs to be reviewed. Nimtandile umfundisi umahahani, even umfundisi Mpofu, when they say siphila kwilizwe that changes all the time. Therefore, nendlela that we amakhosikazi are treated fanele ichange mfundisi, so that it can change even is our alleviator even this femicide that we see eyenzekayo ngoku kubantu bangabafazi. I'm sure mfundisi, if ministers in the church can preach ivangeli ethi umfazi akahlukunyezwa, umfazi ndiyazi ukuthi abafundisi bayayizama nabanye abadala they try so much, but iyebuhlungu ke mfundisi at some point uthola ukuthi kwalomuntu oshumayela levangeli ungumhlungubezi yena qala uyayena lanto ibenzima ke, but ke we not there. It's a topic for another day. Iyafana ne topic of the in-laws is a topic for another day. I thank you so much mfundisi for affording me this opportunity to talk about ukuzila and the experiences that we go through as women. Silungiselela nabazayo to say, you know what, I will make sure. I think uthatha inyani mamthathu uyibhalile pha after mfundisi Mahahane said i-perpetrators sit towards abanye abafazi. Iyafuna mfundisi ukufundiswa ngabanzi akwalapha komama ukuthi masingaqala isihlukubezane thina qala. Let us not abuse one another, because otata mababona sihlukubezane sihlukubezana thina kuqala, quite easy for them because asihloniphani kuqala, we protect each other. Therefore, thank you so much, Mfundisi, for this opportunity. It was Mfundisi. It is a healing to me as well to talk about issues. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Inkosi ikubusise kunye nefamily yakho nabantu abalapha. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much. As we conclude, bengiya chat box, but I think there were no questions, and people were making comments, expressing their excitement about the session. Mfundisi says culture is socially constructed and should transform with. So I think, Bazalwane, this should not be just talk shows. We must play our part in transforming a society that we live in, to make a contribution, especially abefundisi, to preach against ukuhlukunyezwa komama in whatever form ezangayo. Dinota ke nalento umama obosayitshoyo ukuthi abefundisi resources zecawa, ingathi cawa ingaba nento eyenzayo even after sesiyile emngcwabeni sakhalisana senza yonke into esiyenzayo during the days zokulungiselela umngcwabo kanye ngezinsuku zomngcwabo. But it should not end there. Siyabulela kakhulu bazalwane. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your contribution. Mamu obose ngiswela amazwi okubulela. Ukuba sithi kasikhalela kuwe ungasilahli with this session yanamhlanje. Wenze into odume ngayo. Ndihlala ndikumamela xa uthetha. So you have not disappointed me or us for that matter. Siyabulela kakhulu. You have put so much into this. Kwangathi you were given the whole month to present. Thank you so much. We speak blessing over you and your family. Siyathemba uThixo uba uzawuba nani. Yes, it is true. I tuned in kwi session eyayikhona ye-widows, and I can tell you bazalwane into yokuba singaze sicinge into yobana ixesha lokugriva liyadlula. My heart was so broken when I saw our women breaking on that day. And some of them, for instance, Mama Kwenkwe, I'm sure it's it's close to 10 years, but she was crying. So, lento isisifundo sokuba ixesha lokuzila alidluli. No, na abantu bazila na xa sekudlule lo nzilo for that matter. Thank you so much, Mabu Obose. May God bless you. Thank you, bazalwane, for being here. Sibonga nako mama suku abantu abadala who have made time to be here and share their experiences. Nonke bazalwane, this Bible study would not be what it is uba beningekho. Siyambulela kakhulu uThixo ngani, and I've said we have these sessions every week. Next week we are looking to Mfundisi Pataki with a very interesting topic. So come back, all of you. Then we put our heads together and discuss issues. Thank you everyone. Thank you Dlamini. Siyabonga kakhulu ukubambisana abazalwane. May God bless you. Mastele umamuthathi asevalele ngomthandazo asenzele ufefe.
Ngiyabulisa bazalwane bobefundisi bonke nezibhawusi zabo nomuntu wonke okhona apha kule platform. Ndinibulisa ngegama elihle lenkosi Yesu Kristu waseNazaretha. Amen. Ndicela sithandaze. Baba wethu ingcwele, bawuthi unamandla wonke, ise wenkosi yethu enguYesu Kristu waseNazaretha. Siza kwethixo wethu nasekuhlweni dwala lensindiso yethu. Siza kwenkosi yami sithi siyabonga abona amandla wonke. Sigoba thixo wethu amadolo, siyakhothamela nasekuhlweni bawuthi ingcwele. Ukwenze kwalula nkosi yami into yokubana sibe khona kule platform bawuthi ingcwele sizofundisana kuba thixo wethu ezwini lakho moya oyingcwele kufuneka sifundisene sifundisiwe. Siza kweke somandla sibonga thixo wethu umsebenzisile umntana wakho wakwenza konke nkosi yami ubumthume kona. Bawunamandla wonke sesikhona thixo wethu bonke nkosi yami bacontributor bawuthi othandekayo bezama impilo zethu noba thixo wethu singahlali ebumnyameni ngexesha esiphila ngalo sesithe siyakholwa. Siyabulela Nkosi Yesu ngokwehla kwakho emsika ezulwini weza kuthi ezantsi emhlabeni wazozenza umuntu ebantwini. Wavuma nguYesu waseNazaretha lachitheka igazi lakho ukuze sikhululeke thina. Bawunamandla wonke sezikhona ke Nkosi izinto ezisathana azama ngandlela zonke oba sibopheke siyema egameni lika Yesu Kristu waseNazaretha. Simelana naye usathana buqu sithi bawunamandla wonke. Gcina ke thixo wethu abantwana bakho egameni lika Yesu waseNazaretha. Khulula Nkosi yami isizwe simnyama, khulula iAfrika thixo wethu ngegama Nkosi nangegazi elika Yesu Kristu waseNazaretha. Uze Nkosi yami sikwazi ukukhonza sikhululekile thixo othandekayo. Nkosi siyakuthandaza egameni lika Yesu owaseNazaretha. Yesu owavuka emangcwabeni, vusa ibandla lakho ke thixo wethu. Yalibona selomile, siyazigoba phambi kobuso bakho. Siyavuma thixo wethu sithi asenzanga kakuhle egameni lika Yesu Kristu waseNazaretha. Qala into entsha thixo wethu, yakha ibandla lakho ngathi ngalixesha thixo wethu. Uze moya oyingcwele sabonakale sisebenzela thixo wethu lokubana nathi ezantsi emhlabeni lakuphela ithuba lethu ezantsi emhlabeni. Bashiyeke Nkosi emabaza ngemva kwethu besithi bayabonga. Sincede ke Immanuel, sihlale ebungcweleni bakho, singathengisi ngenyaniso. Sihlale thixo wethu sibonakale silenze izwi lakho linjengoba linjalo ngegama Nkosi nangegazi. Izimo zivuma, izimo zingavumi, siyenze Nkosi yami intando yakho ezantsi emhlabeni. Moya ingcwele gcina ke thixo wethu mama obose. Moya ingcwele gcina Nkosi yami bonke thixo wethu abashiywe ngabayeni babo ezantsi emhlabeni. Wena thixo wethu uvele uvala igephu thixo wethu egameni lika Yesu. Gcina abantwana dwala laphakathi. Nkosi siyabonga thixo wethu. Naku siyakwazi ukuyaphileka thixo wethu. Singazi products moya ingcwele zabahlolokazi. Ilonto thixo wethu endithi bagcine abantwana thixo wethu abakhuliswa ngabamama bengasekho tata. Siyathandaza mdala wensuku umelane bawuthi ingcwele nochaba empilweni zabo labo thixo wethu. Bangazenzi moya ingcwele izinto ezibheke ecaleni ngenxa bebesithi tata bahambe ezantsi emhlabeni. Sincede thixo wethu, sincede dwala laphakathi bakhavare moya ingcwele begqume thixo wethu ngegazi likaYesu Kristu waseNazaretha. Gquma wonke umuntu okhona Nkosi yami kule platform right now Lord ngegama nangegazi elika Yesu Kristu waseNazaretha. Usinikeza amandla thixo wethu, sime egephini simele ibandla lakho. Sinikeza ke Nkosi udumo nembeko, sithi unguthembekile amandla ngawakho naxa silele ke thixo wethu. Moya ingcwele sicela thixo wethu izwi lakho linguthe wena ulali awozeli. Hlala njalo Nkosi yami usaluse thixo wethu ukuze sivuke ekuseni sisathi usemhle useyinkosi nomsindisi wempilo zethu. Kanti thixo wethu uba lifikile ixesha lokubana sibuyele kwekhaya ezulwini, usingenise ekhaya ezulwini thixo wethu. Uze dwala laphakade bonakale ezantsi emhlabeni thixo wethu. Ungabi nakuhlazeka dwala laphakade. Sinikela ke Nkosi udumo nembeko, sithi unguthembekile. Touch that one and that one and that one Lord in Jesus mighty name. Sigcine ke thixo wethu sibonakale sinemandla thixo wethu, sinazo nedatha Thixo wethu zokuphinde singene next time egameni likaYesu Kristu waseNazarethe. Busisa abantwana bonke Thixo wethu, phendula izicelo zabo dwala laphakade. Uyayazi into yobana bafisa ntoni, bacela ntoni. Abanye bafuna imisebenzi, abanye Nkosi yam bafuna inzolo emakhaya. Uyaxokozela Thixo wethu. We also bring this country dwala laphakade. We also bring Moya Oyingcwele, your church Moya Oyingcwele egameni likaYesu Kristu waseNazarethe. Moya Oyingcwele sithi let your will be done. Esabulawa umuntu Thixo wethu ngomnye umuntu, sicela Nkosi yam ukukhalima nomoya egameni likaYesu nangegazi likaYesu Kristu waseNazarethe. Sincede Thixo wethu, sincede dwala laphakade. Sinayo omnye uThixo ngaphandle kwakho. Yamkela ke Nkosi udumo nembeko. Siyakwazi uthembekile nguThixo khona Moya Oyingcwele imihla ngemihla ezantsi emhlabeni. Awuthi ubaba lo Nkosi yethu ngeyesu Kristu, uthando nobudlelwane bukaThixo Moya Oyingcwele, nomoya oyingcwele uhlala uphumula phezu kwethu sonke. Sihlale ebungcweleni bakho, sihlale nakuthi Moya Oyingcwele, siphile ezantsi emhlabeni egameni inkosi nasegazini elenkosi uYesu Kristu waseNazarethe ngoku nangonaphakade. Amen.
Amen. Siyabulela kakhulu bazalwane, nilale kakuhle. Ningalibali ke lanto bengike ndayithetha for lessons. Lanto bengike ndayithetha. Siyabulela.
Good night.
Good night. Nilale kakuhle mamobose nabo bonke abantu. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Night.
Night, bless you, love you.